We are here with Melanie Akoka, the director of Yearlings. Hello, Melanie, and thank you for joining us.
Hi everyone.
Hi, Melanie.
Veronica wanted to ask you a few questions about your short film, so I'll leave the word to her.
So the first question is where did this story come from? Why did you decide to tell this story?
It comes from one of my own experiences, not in the way that the story is exactly, but it comes from a feeling that I remember having growing up, where there was this person that was sort of brought into our lives, kind of similarly to this person. He just like happened to do some work and came over, and I remember just developing this really interesting connection with him. And then my family sort of like pushed him away because something weird had happened that I like didn't know at the time. And I remember thinking, oh, this is like this is interesting that like I was able to see completely through whatever weird or immoral, I put this in quotation marks, behavior as a child, because I saw directly through that, and I saw his like the person that he was, and he was an incredible person. And so I thought that would be like a really great way to introduce a relationship between two characters, and then the rest is more of, I was trying to think what would be an interesting thing, like what, and these kinds of taboos are really up my alley. I don't know how else to say it, but it just sort of all kind of made sense together. I was like, oh, this would be a really great way to put these people together. It had to be something that was like both sexual and both very pure, and it kind of merged in that way. So yeah, it's a little bit my experience, but I don't really like to tell stories about myself. So merging of the two, I will say.
Yeah, and I could say that worked very well because that's exactly the feeling you get when you watch a short film. And
Yeah.
You have this very
Great.
mixture of eroticism and innocence in both
Mhm.
characters. And I wanted to ask you if the horse and the fact that the horse was dark before and now is getting lighter and lighter in its skin, and the fact that this girl watches the horse over and over in a film made of uh, you always have this close up and then the thing she watches. So I wanted to ask if the horse worked as a symbol of what you were trying to tell us about growing up and developing, sexual identity in a world that does not help you into that.
That's an interesting perspective on it. I didn't really think about it this way, although it makes sense. The truth is that like horses do kind of get like, as they age, they get lighter and lighter. The horse is like works as a symbol of this freedom. It's just like a creature that just does whatever they want and just like sort of gallops away. And so there is a to a certain extent like a translation between sex and the horse, and like what she believes is um what she doesn't understand but understands at its core as just like this energy, this fire. She sees that through the horse, and it does have a way, in a way it does fade, it changes the more you look at it. So I think it's an interesting point you're making. Yeah.
So I have another question. We immediately realized that the girl act as an adult. I mean, because her mom is not very present in her life, and the things that she does are works in the house that can help the mom and the house itself. So she acts as an adult. and the feeling that she felt for this guy is on the limit between the feeling of a little child that is attracted from a guy and the feeling of a woman that of a little woman that is attracted of a man. So is on the border. This is very interesting, and as you said, and also as Andrea said. And how did you work on this in terms of writing, but also directing the child and the choice that you made in the directed terms? I mean, how did you work on this feeling?
I mean, I met this child before. It was actually really hard to cast this because I didn't really have any like movies to show to prove that I wasn't just doing this for fun. And it's a pretty hard script, and people were like, in a way that I understand, a little skeptical, or they didn't really want. It was mostly the parents that were a little. But then I met this one kid, and she just sort of get it. Like, I didn't send her in the script. I obviously changed some stuff. She never knew exactly what it was that she was looking at. She knew, but I explained it to her. I said, in very simple terms, something that he's doing, you don't understand what it is. And she just sort of totally understood this. And she was like the most like weirdly mature kid, but at the same time a kid. Like, she was that character in a really funny way. All she wanted to do was do more takes and more takes. Like, she was having the time of her life doing this thing. But at the same time, she like took direction, understood everything. So I was dealing with this like actor. She had acted before in like just very small things. I was dealing with this like actor who was like, in a way, the character. And it was incredible, like how little I had to manipulate her into this. She just knew what to do, and she just understood. Like, it was incredible. I think it's a rare experience. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, so yes. So the casting moment was crucial from this point.
The casting moment, yeah, the casting moment was crucial, and then working with her. She knew not to ask like too many questions, and to just sort of trust that what was going on was important to the film. She knew not to like dig and just kind of let herself be part of the moment, which was really good. And he was incredible too, and he was doing this like the same thing in reverse, like acting like a child whilst being an adult. And so they're both kind of meeting in this like similar age like mentality, even though they're 20 years apart or more. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, there is a scene in the movie at the end, the last scene, where the protagonist is standing on this wall, and the two adult characters are walking away in different directions. So it works very well in like giving us a feeling that whatever she's going through in her growing up, she must go through that alone. And like what she catches are glimpses of something that might not be the same thing that the adult are thinking. And I wanted to ask you if that was in some way also like a symbol of how children are grow up sexually in our world, because we still have a lot of taboos about not talking or not helping children, creating a sexual identity. And so many children, many kids at 10, 12, they are left alone in this process. And I wanted to tell you if this was intentional, or what do you think about that in general?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely intentional, and something that I like work a lot with thematically in the things that I write about. I think that ultimately these kinds of ways in which you grow up, it's always by these big leaps and never these small incremental process. So this is like you have to go through it alone. You'll never be equipped, and it'll always be like painful and lonely. I think that like as a society, we are trying to make this better. We're trying to open ourselves up. We're not trying to like help this process, but I think that ultimately I'm skeptical that it will ever like fully change, because I think it's inherently human that these are things that you have to go through alone, and that is what part of what makes you like grow up, and that is part of what gives you trauma and qualities and empathy, and it's just inherently human in a way that I don't think we have to try. We have to try to protect people, but I don't think we have to try to erase these like such important constitutional steps towards adulthood, I think.
Can I do a little last question?
Of course.
Okay. My last question is, in the atmosphere that you set it, basically we are in a kind of pre-digital world. I mean, we are not in a digital world. So this choice helped you to develop the look, the gaze of the little child.
When I wrote this, I had a discussion with my cinematographer, and I shoot a lot, so I'm really involved in like that part of the process, and we decided to shoot it as if it was a memory, because we thought it would bring some dramatic element to the film that if I had shot it in, I could have shot it in modern times, but there was something about this is a look back at an event that like changed somebody's life to whatever degree you want it to. And I think that if we make it in the past, but in a way that is non-temp, like you can't know exactly when it is. It's just sort of suspended in time in the past, right? So I thought that that would add something. So we not only like decided to shoot film and like erase all elements of modern life. Also, in a way, we were talking about like how people live in the country, which is a little bit in the past too, but that's a separate thing. But we also decided to like production design and place things in the frame as if it was a memory that was fading. So when I try to remember things, I generally can't remember exactly the place or can't remember exactly the time, but I'll have this vivid detail that'll stay in my head, like my mother's red coat or something like this, or the red of my mother's. So that's how we like went about shooting this. We thought each frame should have these details that would be part of an image that you would remember, and also why we shot it so statically. But nothing else will come to make it more naturalistic. It'll be very minimal and faded, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Thank you. And I think you built a very peculiar atmosphere for the film, and also the sounds make it, give it that look of that the tension, that atmosphere of that intensity to this main scenes. And I really enjoyed it, and thank you for bringing it to us. And I hope that the public will like it as much as we did.
Thank you so much.
Yes, compliments, because it's a very good shirt. I really like it.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you do.
If you shoot new stuff, please send it along. That we really like to see where and how you are developing your next work.
I will. I'm just waiting for this pandemic to end, and then I'm ready.
Okay. Thank you for being with us, Melanie, and see you next time.
Thank you.